Every police officer that I've ever known and worked with, every firefighter, every paramedic, always gets asked the same questions. What's the worst thing you've ever seen? What's the worst call you've ever had to go to? And listen, nobody means any offense by it. They're just genuinely interested. But to be honest with you, most police officers, paramedics, firefighters, military personnel, nurses, they're trying to forget about those things. And sometimes they spend years in a lifetime in therapy just trying to forget about those calls. We need to change the conversation. Having said that, I'm going to say what I find personally to be the worst type of crime out there. And what that is crimes of opportunity. Now I'm going to warn you. I'm going to give some disturbing examples of crimes of opportunity which have actually taken place. And why do I find crimes of opportunity to be so disturbing? It's because without the opportunity, the crime wouldn't have taken place. There's no premeditation, and that scares me. So, what kind of crimes can take place just because the opportunity presented itself? You name it. Theft, vehicle theft, robbery, assault with a weapon, vandalism, also known as public mischief, and even sexual assaults and homicides. All right, so let me give an example. I'm going to dumb it down a bit, okay? And don't take any offense to that. I dumb things down so that I can understand it more and I can explain it with my limited intellect. An easy example of a crime of opportunity is somebody's walking home from work or school. They pass a house, they see a bike laying down on the grass out front. So what do? They grab the bike and they drive it home. Or if they're smart, they'll probably ditch it a block or two from home because that's what a smart criminal would do. You had no plans on stealing the bike that day. You would have walked all the way home. The only reason why you did steal that bike is because it was just sitting, laying there on the grass. An opportunity presented itself and you took it. You seized on that opportunity. A more serious version of this would be vehicle theft. It's early in the morning, somebody's walking by, they see somebody's car running, the keys are in the ignition, it's cold, it's rainy, they hop in the car and they take off. It's a more serious charge, but it's a crime of opportunity. Now, I've personally dealt with people, hundreds of people, who have committed crimes of opportunity, and their only excuse was that it was easy because it was there. In other words, the opportunity presented itself. I put out a message on Twitter the other day on X, and it was really kind of dumb, but basically it was me saying you can trust me with your secrets, you can trust me with your life, the life of your family members. If you leave me in a room with $10,000 on the table and come back, there's going to be $10,000 on that table. But if you leave me in a room with a bowl of chocolates, well, that's your problem. That's on you. All right, so these examples I gave you, that's why we have to keep our eye on things, keep things out of sight and locked up at all times. Okay? Not every crime is a crime of opportunity. If there's going to be people out there that are actively seeking to commit theft, robbery, whatever, but we have to do our part. But I can understand those crimes. But that's not what's disturbing to me. I'm going to give another example, and it's a disturbing example. If you pay attention to the media around the world, you'll hear of these cases where a child was abducted, brutally assaulted, and then even killed after the fact. Now, part of my training program, about 18 years ago, I took my general investigators course, and there was a guest speaker in there whose son was apprehended and also killed. It was very, very tragic. But what I really took away from that, and what was most disturbing is at how random this seemed to be. Random and just completely unplanned, as if the suspect, the accused, didn't even have to plan anything out. The opportunity presented itself. We know, or we should know, especially as adults, that there are sick people out there with nothing but pure evil intentions. And it's quite possible that they'll live their entire lives and never act on those impulses. It's only when an opportunity presents itself that they act on it. I remember during another course, they talked about these crazy facts. I don't know where they got the numbers from, but basically they gave an example of a child getting lost in an apartment complex, maybe getting off at the wrong floor looking for somebody, whatever the case is, but them going to the wrong door. And the chances of that child being molested or assaulted increased significantly just by them going to the wrong door and being lost. And again, what's the worst part of this is the fact that the opportunity present itself. Whoever answered that door to a child may have never acted on those impulses if that opportunity didn't present itself that way. I'm sorry to use those examples. They can be very triggering, but crimes against the vulnerable are the most disturbing, and they have a lasting effect and sometimes shake us out of apathy or into action or out of inaction. There's other examples. Somebody committing a homicide because they have access to a firearm when they normally wouldn't. Somebody committing vandalism, picking up a rock and throwing it through somebody's window because it was late at night and they're carrying on with their friends, whatever the case is. There was a rock at the front of the house, which is often used for, landscaping and aesthetics. There was a rock in front of the house, and that was the mood that they were in. So what's the point of this video? Basically, to raise awareness, get people talking, much like many of my other videos. There's always going to be violence out there. There's always going to be somebody to seize on the moment, but it's up to us to share crime prevention tips and strategies with our friends and families and neighbors, and perhaps minimize the opportunities to the best of our ability. I just touched briefly on crime prevention and reducing opportunities. I took a course many years ago, crime prevention, and part of that course was CPTED training. CPTED, C-P-T-E-D. CPTED stands for Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design. It was a fantastic course, and after that, myself and other crime prevention officers, we were able to attend people's homes or businesses and give them tips on what they can do to reduce the possibility of being a victim at home or at work. It's basically using design to reduce criminal behavior and reduce your chance of becoming a victim. It could be something as simple as cutting down trees or shrubs near the front of the house, getting rid of those rocks, those objects that can be thrown through a window, and it could even be just having proper lighting installed. Not just at your house, but also your neighbors, making your entire community a safer place to live. Now, I know there's some police services out there that put on seminars and where they talk about crime prevention initiatives, and they really focus on CPTED, crime prevention through environmental design. And a lot of police services, if you want a CPTED assessment, you call them up and they'll actually send an officer to your home or business or your community gathering, and they'll put on a full seminar. It's fantastic. Google CPTED and also call your local police service and ask them if they offer anything like that. I just checked out YouTube, and there's all kinds of different videos offering CPTED courses and giving all kinds of crime prevention tips, advice, so you name it. Check it out. All right, folks, if you made it this far, I just want to thank you for staying with me and listening to my rants. I go off here and there. If you have any questions, please leave me a question in the comments. I read every comment, and I do my best to respond when it makes sense to respond to the questions. So listen, besides that, stay warm out there. It's cold. Be safe. Look after one another, and perhaps we will see you again.